and fill the void for this team and make them just that much more better on defense. On the offensive side of the ball, they always generated the offense, and Frank Wright has always done a great job. But Phillip Rivers was the key component to this team. So if they can keep it up and continue to compile wins, then they'll find themselves playing in the postseason, which is the common goal for this team.
So, Mike, with everything you just said, why are you surprised? I think you and I may be the only ones before the year to pick them to be the dark horse. Like, this team is really good, and you're right. Phillip Rivers, he is the X factor. And last night, he played smart. That's first and foremost. He also looked really, really good. Mike, I don't know about you and how you saw it, but, man, that ball was coming out of his hands fast. He looked explosive in the pocket. His decision-making was quick. It almost felt like somebody got in his ear and said, look, buddy, if you don't stop making these terrible decisions like you did in Jacksonville, like you did in Cleveland, and how you played in Baltimore, then somebody else is going to take this from you. Maybe it's Jacoby, probably Jacoby. Yeah. So, like, this dude just played really good, Mike.
Yeah, I felt like the nemesis for Phillip Rivers early in the year was he wasn't ball distributing, and he wasn't playing the quarterback position, playing keep away from the defense. He was pressing. It seemed like he was just always trying to do it all himself instead of just putting the ball into the hands of his playmakers like he did last night. I mean, he just was able to spread the ball around and look like Vince's Phillip Rivers. When he plays that way, the sky's the limit and what this team can do, because they have all the key components and pieces in place to be very good, and some key guys out. So when those guys come back, when they get fully healthy, and if Phillip Rivers just stay on this path, then the Indianapolis Colts can have some success.
That's right.
Here's the problem, folks. You're describing a Phillip Rivers that no longer exists, and maybe never did. This idea that if Phillip Rivers could just avoid the once every few games just blindly throwing it into triple coverage, he'd be great. Well, yeah, that take was true in 2017 and in 2015. This is who the man is, and it's only gotten more exacerbated with time. I think the Colts have a great coach, not a good coach. I think Frank Reich is a great coach. And even though it seemed to annoy Troy Aikman a bit last night, their approach on fourth down, it's the right approach. It's the smart approach. He knows what he's doing. Darius Leonard, there's a 10-point-per-game difference nearly when he plays and when he doesn't, as far as what that defense allows. That defense, with Leonard on the field, with the addition of DeForest Buckner, is an excellent defense. Nyheim Hines is a good player, and they hope to get more out of Jonathan Taylor. And we know T.Y. Hilton, when he's healthy, he is a good receiver. And they have an excellent offensive line. The problem is, can you rely on Phillip Rivers to string these types of games together?
Consistent.
I don't think you can. There is no doubt that if the Colts play their best football and Phillip Rivers plays a clean game, I think they could beat anybody, including my Chiefs, in a one-game sample. Ooh. The problem is, I do believe that. I think they are built really, really well. And when you get the good Phillip Rivers wilds, they're dangerous. But the good Phillip Rivers, it's like saying if it were sunlight all day, it'd be beautiful. You know night is coming. And so, of course, we're going to get the other side of this. The question is when. So I don't know if they've overachieved. I think they're going to win 8 or 9 games, and I think we're going to see some bad Phillip Rivers games coming up.
Okay, but if we don't see any bad Phillip Rivers, they're a very scary team. This is the playoff picture as it stands right now. I wouldn't, if I was the Ravens and all I do is run the ball and nobody has run for 100 yards in 2 years, if your name isn't Derrick Henry, I think the Colts can really make some noise. Mike, I'll throw it to you. To me, they seem like the opposite of the Seahawks. The defense will always keep you in the game, and we just need our quarterback. Doesn't need to be great. Just needs to be kind of Phillip Rivers-y. Like, hey, distribute it, and don't make any real bad decisions, and we can make a run here.
No, I think Nick hit it on the head, man, with Phillip Rivers. Like, I hate to use the phrase game manager, but in Phillip Rivers' case, this is all he have to do right now. He just have to manage the game and don't lose the game. Don't turn it over. You know, I think back to the game against Cleveland this year where the defense went out, got 2 back-to-back turnovers versus Baker Mayfield, and Phillip Rivers went back out on the field and gave it right back. And that was their chance to get back into the game. So don't hurt the game. Be the reason that you win the game. And look, it's easier said than done, but Phillip has been playing for a long time. It's in his pedigree.
Yeah, but we can also go back to some of Coach's last statements last year. Coach Frank Wright, what did he say? This town is used to throwing the ball around, and we got to be better at that. Last year, they were 30th in the NFL in passing. This year, they're kind of, middle of the pack. That's how this team is built when we talk about identity. They play really good on defense. They're the best defense in the National Football League. Offensively, they did run the ball well last year for several reasons, but Mac isn't there. Hines played well last night, went for over 100, but this team is built to throw the ball. So for them to win and for them to compete and potentially be a contender, Phillip Rivers not only has to throw the ball well, he has to obviously protect the ball. And to Nick Wright's point, that's yet to be seen.
It's a big question mark. And Wilds, I'll just be very quick here. When you're talking about Phillip Rivers, you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing you talk about Dion Waiters. If he removes those 4 terrible decisions a game, he can be useful. He can be helpful. And it's like, yeah, but Dion Waiters ain't changing. And I just don't think Phillip Rivers at near 40, year 17, a half dozen kids in, is changing. He is who he is, and the Colts are going to have to live or die with it, Jenna.
Half dozen.
It's more than a half dozen, Nick. It's
got more than that.
Yeah.
It's like 10.
More. My bad. Sorry, I shorted
guys,
some children.
A lot of people, let's talk Titans, who they played last night. So a lot of people thought the Titans were the team to beat in the AFC South, right? Off to that fast start this season. They've now lost 3 of their last 4 games, and they've got the Ravens, and then they got another matchup with the Colts coming up next. Mike, have you lost faith in this Tennessee Titans team?
I tell you what, it's starting to slip away. For a team that started out so hot and a team so promising, especially with the level of talent they have. I think they have one of the best offenses in the National Football League, starting Ryan Tannehill playing some of his best football. They got the run game, obviously, and they have receivers. I think the defense is a little not immature, but I think they just need to grow up a little bit. They don't have the veteran presence on that side of the ball that can get them through games like a team like the Indianapolis Colts. But, for this team, the most important games are the next 2. You got to find a way to get past Baltimore, and then you see the Colts again, which would be a divisional game that will be a must-win game. So they got to up the ante a little bit, and they got to tighten it up if they want to secure that wild card spot and get into the postseason, because right now it's slipping away.
Yeah, Mike, you're right about that defense. When you lose guys like Wesley Woodyard, that hurts. Now, he's not a superstar, but he's one of those guys that's a pillar in that locker room. And everything you said was right on point. How is this team built? How were they successful last year? Ryan Tannehill played lights out. They ran the ball well. They also protected him. They had receivers that can make the big play. But the biggest thing, the contributing factor, was that defense. That defense was really good. They're not that good this year. And that is the problem, Nick, is that this defense need to find a way to get it done. Now, Mike Vrabel is one of the best young-minded young coaches in this game, as far from an experience standpoint. There's McVay, there's Flores, and then there's Vrabel. Vrabel is a beast when it comes to understanding the